Hola a todos, soy Mike. En el video de hoy les traigo la guía definitiva para dominar el pronombre you en español. Hi everybody, this is Mike. In this video, I bring you the ultimate guide to mastering the pronoun you in Spanish. Spanish is a very difficult language to learn because it's a very complex language. Spanish is as complex as our culture is, and we are a complex culture. So one of the difficult things that we face or people face when starting to learn Spanish is the different translations for the pronoun you. In English, we just say you, and that's it. We don't make differences. But in Spanish, we have different translations for you. And depending on each one of these translations, we have different conjugations for the verb. So this makes so hard for us to understand and learn this pronoun. In this video, I'm going to give you the ultimate guide for mastering this pronoun. This is not going to be easy, but it's not going to be impossible. Now we have there's a catch. Well, not really a catch. This is like a cheat here. And if you have issues with the different forms of you in the singular form, you can just go with to, which is like the easiest one for us to learn when we are studying this language. So let's start with the different meanings of you in Spanish. So as you can see, for you, we can have singular form and the plural form. And for the singular form, we have three different ways of using you. Whereas for the plural form, we have two different ways of using the pronoun you. Now let's check how this works. For the singular form, we have you. We can translate you as tú. Tú would be in Spanish a very informal. Tú would be informal, meaning informal close relationships, singular. Tú. It doesn't mean that you as a foreigner or as a non-native Spanish speaker cannot use that for a formal situation. You can do that. But for us, for the way we use Spanish and the way we use the pronoun you in Spanish, we can use that as tú if we mean informal and close relationships, right? We can also translate you as usted, and that would be formal, totally formal, non-close relationships, meaning that if I meet somebody in the street, outside, whatever, someplace, a total stranger, it's most likely that I'm going to address that person as usted instead of tú, right? And in some regions, we can use vos or vos. Doesn't matter. In Colombia, we don't make any differences between the sound of B and V, so nothing to worry about this. Vos could be like a middle way between formal and informal, right? Could be, let's say, informal, right? Informal. Not necessarily a close relationship. If you don't want to go so close with tú, but you don't want to be so formal with usted, you can use vos, and that's it. In Colombia, there are some regions in which we can use vos a lot. And in South America, in Latin America, there are places in which vos is used, like in Chile, Argentina, vos que pensás, blah, blah, blah. So these are the three different ways for translating you in the singular form. When we talk to a second person, a single second person, right? In English, there's no difference, but in Spanish, we make differences. This is the first difference that we make. Singular form, if we talk to a second person, a single second person, we use the singular form, either two informal close relationships, usted formal non-close relationships, or vos like a middle thing, middle way in between those, pretty much informal, okay? And some Latin American countries. And for a plural form, we use ustedes, more than one people. Let's say if I'm talking to two or more people, I say ustedes. And in Spain, this is not for Latin American, this is just for Spain, we use vosotros. Now, if you learn Latin American Spanish and you go anywhere in Latin America, you can say ustedes and you're not going to sound weird. And if you go to Spain, you can say ustedes and they're going to know that you're not from there, but you're not going to sound weird. You're going to be fully understood. That's going to be fully understandable. So it would be the easiest way for you is to learn ustedes instead of ustedes and vosotros. If you want to go further, you can learn vosotros. And for sure, if you're planning on moving or living on visiting Spain, you can go with vosotros easily. But remember, ustedes, it's like more general. So these are the translations that we have for you in Spanish. And this would be the first thing that you need to learn. Now let's move to the second thing, and it's the conjugation of the verbs. We're gonna find regular and irregular verbs. And I do have some videos in which I go deep with regular verbs conjugation and irregular verbs conjugation. For regular verb conjugation, we have rules, of course, because that's why we call them regular verbs. And here we're gonna see what are the conjugation rules for the verbs. In Spanish, we have three different types of verbs. Verbs ending in ar, verbs ending in er, and verbs ending in ir. I have three regular verb examples here. Nadar, correr, vivir would be to swim, to run, to live. Nadar, correr, vivir. And for the simple present, the conjugation rules are this in this table. Meaning that we're going to replace ar in the root of the infinitive verb and replace it with the ending that we have accordingly to this table. This can be tricky, but nonetheless, it's just a matter of practice. So I can say, tú nadar, simple present. Tú nadas todos los días. Tú nadas todos los días. You see? And what I'm doing here is I'm taking the verb nadar, I'm replacing ar with as for tú. Tú nadas todos los días. You swim every day. That would be tú corres en el parque. Correr, tú corres. You see, we changed this. Tú corres en el parque. You run in the park. Or tú. Tú vives aquí. You see, vivir, we replace ir with s. Tú vives aquí. So as you can see, we have replaced the ending part of the verb here. Whoops, sorry, with red it would be easier. Nadas, corres, vives. Right? That's understandable. And that's how you conjugate verbs, regular verbs, with tú in the simple present form. Now, how about vos? For vos, the thing changes. So I can say, vos nadas. You see? When I said, whoops, sorry. Whoops, sorry. So let me see if I'm here. Okay, yeah, that's working. So if I'm using tú as the pronoun, this is the conjugation. But if I change to vos, I'm going to use vos nadas. You see? This changed. It is not nadas, but nadas. The accent changes. Nadas, nadas. Vos nadas todos los días. Vos corres en el parque. You see what I'm doing here? Vos vivís aquí. And this is the conjugation. Based on the rules, it changes. You see? Tú nadas, vos nadás. Tú corres, vos corres. Tú vives, vos vivís, vos. Right? Whoops. Again. I don't know why this is happening. Well, I know what is. Now, how about usted? Usted nada. Todos los días. Usted corre en el parque. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just using the table for the conjugation rules for the different translations of you. Usted vive aquí. You see? You see what I did? I'm just following this rule for the conjugation. And so for ustedes, the plural form. Ustedes nadan todos los días. Right? Ustedes corren en el parque. And I made a mistake here, sorry. Usted vive. And ustedes viven aquí. I'm gonna have to. Give me just a second. I do this in order to fix it. Okay. Ustedes viven. Oops. Maybe also the size of the text. Just a little bit. Okay. It's kind of messy, but let me fix it here, and here. Okay, so ustedes viven aquí. And last but not least, vosotros. Once again, this is 10, this is 11, this is 10. Okay, vosotros. Vosotros. And we do the same. Vosotros nadáis, right? Nadáis. Todos los días. Vosotros corréis en el parque. Vosotros vivís aquí. And so we have the different conjugations for the different ways of using you in Spanish for regular verbs in the simple present tense. Easy, right? This is fairly easy. I'm gonna copy this. And we're going to move to the next tense because we want to master this. Of course, the idea is to practice this with different verbs, regular verbs, of course. Now we are going to move to the verb nadar. And the good thing here is that from this point on, all of the conjugations for tú and vos are exactly the same. So for the simple past, pretérito indefinido, which we use for something that we did once and that's it. Remember that in Spanish we have two different pasts, simple past. The things that we did and that was it, and the things that we used to do. We have different conjugations for that, for regular verbs. A little bit complex, but anyhow. So here, tú nadaste. Oops. Nadaste todos los días. Right? Tú corriste en el parque. See what I'm doing? I'm just replacing. Tú viviste aquí. And the same conjugation goes for vos. From this point on, I also say, vos nadaste todos los días. Vos corriste en el parque. And vos viviste aquí. For usted, we have to change. Usted nadó todos los días. Usted corrió en el parque. You see? Corrió en el parque. And usted vivió aquí. That's it. For ustedes, ustedes nadaron todos los días. Ustedes corrieron en el parque. And ustedes vivieron aquí. Let's do this real quick to see if I can. Okay. And for vosotros, vosotros nadasteis. 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 Todos los días. Nadasteis. Vosotros nadasteis todos los días. There's a thing here, but it's because of this. Nadasteis. Vosotros corristeis en el parque. Vosotros corristeis en el parque. Vosotros corristeis en el parque. And vosotros vivisteis aquí. Vivisteis aquí. Vosotros vivisteis aquí. Let's delete this and let's move this again. And here we have used the same table for the conjugation. You see, when we were conjugating in the simple present tense, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different forms. But for the simple past, on, for tú and vos, the conjugations are the same. You can use any of those. Now, let's copy this. And let's go with the simple past pretérito imperfecto. This is the one that we use when we want to talk about things that we used to do in the past on a frequent basis. So here, tú nadabas. Tú nadabas todos los días. Tú corrías en el parque. And tú vivías aquí. Same conjugation for vos. Vos nadabas. Vos nadabas todos los días. Vos corrías en el parque. Tú vivías aquí. Vos vivías aquí. It's the same. For usted, usted nadaba todos los días. Usted corría todos los días en el parque. Usted vivía aquí. Por ustedes, ustedes nadaban. Ustedes nadaban. Ustedes corrían. Ustedes corrían en el parque. Ustedes vivían aquí. And for vosotros, vosotros nadabais. Nadabais. Todos los días nadabais. Vosotros corríais en el parque. And vosotros vivíais aquí. Let's move to the simple future. For the simple future, we use the same table here. Well, not the same as before, but this one, this table. And for tú, tú nadarás. Tú nadarás. Tú nadarás. Tú nadarás todos los días. Tú correrás en el parque. Tú correrás en el parque. Tú vivirás aquí. And as you can see, for vos is the same. Vos nadarás todos los días. Vos correrás en el parque. Vos vivirás aquí. Vivirás aquí. Por usted. Usted nadará. Usted nadará todos los días. Usted correrá en el parque. Usted vivirá aquí. Sí, just using the table. Ustedes. Ustedes nadarán. Nadarán. Ustedes nadarán. Ustedes nadarán todos los días. Ustedes correrán en el parque. Correrán en el parque. Ustedes vivirán aquí. Vosotros nadaréis. Nadaréis. Aquí cambiamos. Nadaréis. Vosotros nadaréis todos los días. Vosotros correréis. 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 Todos los días. Vosotros correréis o correréis. Y vosotros viviréis. And now let's move for the conditional form. The conditional forms, it's so easy. So we have tú nadaríais. It's again, sorry. Copy this. Okay. To fix this a little quick. Just a second. Okay. So we have tú nadáis. Tú nadar. Okay, nadar. Tú nadarías todos los días. Tú correrías. Tú correrías. Tú correrías en el parque. Tú vivirías aquí. Tú vivirías aquí. Here, as you can see, we just need to add this. We don't need to replace. But this add to the infinitive form. Correr, nadar, nadarías. Correr, nadar, vivir. We add this to the end, right? The verb. For vos, exactly the same. Vos nadarías todos los días. Vos nadarías todos los días. Vos nadarías todos los días. Vos correrías en el parque. This is the conditional form for would, right? Y vos vivirías aquí. Vivirías aquí. For usted. Usted nadaría. Nadaría todos los días. Usted correría en el parque. And usted viviría aquí. Viviría aquí. Viviría. Por ustedes. Ustedes nadarían todos los días. Nadarían. Ustedes correrían. Correrían en el parque. Correrían en el parque. And ustedes vivirían aquí. And for vosotros, vosotros, nadaríais, nadaríais todos los días. Vosotros correríais en el parque. And vosotros viviríais aquí. And as you can see, these are the conjugation rules that we are going to follow if we want to master the use of the pronoun you in Spanish with its different forms. Now, in a nutshell, we have different meanings of you in Spanish, whether it's singular or plural, and informal, formal, and some uses for Spain for a plural. And we have these tables for the conjugation rules for the regular verbs. So, what's your homework? Your homework is to start using this, to really master this conjugation rules for the pronoun you in its different forms, with all of the verbs that you can. There's a list of regular verbs. You can find regular verbs, the most used regular verbs in Spanish, and get those verbs according if it's ar, ir. Use these rules and start practicing. If you have doubts, check this video as many times as you need. And if you're still in doubt, leave a comment. I'll reply as soon as possible. If you like this video, you know what to do. Please share with your friends, group, social media, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell button in order to get notifications because we're posting videos on a weekly basis. I really enjoy this. I hope you do too. This learning Spanish is not impossible. It can be overwhelming. It can be a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible. And hopefully you're gonna do that. And this is one step more towards learning Spanish. So I hope you like this. I hope you're going to find this useful, and looking forward to seeing you in future videos. Take care, study hard, estudien mucho y nos vemos en un próximo video. Bye bye.